once J.J. Thomson was able to give identification of negatively charged particles present in an atom as electrons, then even he was able to give another hint, that is regarding charge to mass ratio of electron. The same scientist, that is J.J. Thomson, he did another experiment. So he was able to just determine the charge to mass ratio, that is charge is represented by E and mass is represented by m suffix E of electron. So now we are going to learn about regarding that experiment which was done by J.J. Thomson himself. So actually you can remember here, once he started with cathode ray discharge tube experiment. So he was considering the glass tube which was connected with the two electrode plates. So here he is considering the same cathode ray tube. So here we can find one side there is a cathode plate, another side there will be anode plate. Of course here you can find there will be perforation or the hole in the anode plate. So that during his experiment, so as usual that cathode and anode plates are connected externally to a battery, and of course by supplying high voltage of current, so there will be emission of cathode rays obviously from the cathode plate. And here you can find this cathode ray tube is prolonged here, and it is also made up of glass, and here you can see here there will be enlargement of the glass tube, and you can find certain screen like nature, that is at one end of this glass tube here there will be coat of fluorescent screen. So there will be coat of fluorescent material surrounding this, so that he will be able to recognize that glow or the spot where do the deflection takes place exactly on the screen, that is it is acting as a fluorescent screen. Now once he started with the experiment, so he started with high voltage. Once by supplying high voltage and maintaining very low pressure inside this glass tube, then he was able to emit that cathode rays which are obviously emitted from cathode, and they are attracted towards anode. But of course because of the perforation or the pore, so it was able to just pass through this hole, and it was able to just comes under the influence of this field. So actually you know that whenever cathode rays are made to move in the absence of electric field and magnetic field further here, you just consider it will be clear there will be no magnet and no electric fields, electrodes here. So in the absence of either electric field or magnetic field, he was just identified it as those anode rays will be able to move in a straight line direction, and they are about to hit that fluorescent screen at exactly the spot which is considered as B. So how he was able to identify it is exactly at spot B. Here he was able to find that glow at, we can consider green colored glow, we can find on the screen, that is fluorescent screen. Hence he was able to find that in the absence of electric field and magnetic field, he was able to get that spot at B. But now in order to find the charge to mass ratio, he need to just induce electric field and magnetic field. Now we had to analyze the influence of electric field and magnetic field, and in the presence of both electric field and magnetic field. Now here we can consider, so once only electric field is used without magnetic field, only in the presence of electric field, he was able to identify whatever the cathode rays were emitted, they are passed through the anode pores. Then under the influence of electric field, you know that obviously cathode rays are negatively charged, they are attracted towards the that is electric field towards anode plate. Hence he was able to find the deflection, the glow or the spot that is at A. The glow spot was found at place A, point A. So this point A represents that deflection in the presence of strong electric field. Now let us consider without electric field in the presence of only magnetic field. So he was able to identify that these cathode rays which are able to move in a straight line direction in the presence of magnetic field, that deflection is exactly in the opposite direction to that of the electric field. Then in the presence of only magnetic field, he was able to find that glow that is at exactly that place, point C. So here the deflection point is exactly at C in the presence of magnetic field, and A it is in the presence of only electric field. Now in the very next step, what he did, he will just induce both electric field as well as magnetic field. Now he can change the strength of electric field, even he can change the strength of the magnetic field. So why he need to change the strength of electric field and magnetic field? Now let us consider. So now actually by varying the voltage and by varying the strength of these magnets, he was able to just find that deflection. Now let us consider that deflection is more towards electric field. So he need to move the deflection point towards center, so that by adjusting the strength of electric field and magnetic field, he was able to find there will be no deviation in the movement of the cathode rays. There will be no deflection here. The deflection angle will becomes almost in a straight line, that is 0 angle. So he will get, there will be no deflection. He will just arrange the strength of electric field and magnetic field in a such a way that he will find no deflection. Exactly he will find that spot in a straight line at B. ಅಂದರೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡು ಮತ್ತು ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ನ ವೇರಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದನ್ನು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಆಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಏನು ಅವೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ಗಿಂತ ಅವೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿವಿಯೇಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಒನ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಮತ್ತು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ನೇ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಕ್ಯಾಥೋಡ್ ರೇಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗಿ, ಸೊ ನಮಗೆ ಗ್ಲೋ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನಲ್ಲಿ, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅಟ್ ದ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಬಿ. ಸೊ by considering this experiment, by observing this experiment, so he was able to consider that deviation of the cathode rays depends on what factors. So by observing this experiment, even we need to consider what are those influences on which the deviation of cathode rays depends on. So which are those particular that is, we can consider the cathode rays whichever undergo deflection, they all depends on these factors. We can learn these factors one by one now. Which is that first factor? The magnitude of the negative charge on particle. So if there is increase in the negative charge on the particle, there will be much increase in the deflection. If there is decrease in negative magnitude of the negative charge of the particles, there will be decrease in the angle of the deflection. ಸೊ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಡಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಡಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾಥೋಡ್ ರೇ ಡಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ವಾಟ್? ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆನ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್. More the negative charge, more deflection. Less the negative charge, less will be the deflection. And if you go for that second factor, which is that second factor? It depends on the mass of the particle. So particle do mass, it depends on the nature of the gas also, you know that. So ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ದು ಮಾಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನು ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ದು ಮಾಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಲೈಟ್ ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಮೂಮೆಂಟು ಈಸಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹೆವಿ ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಮೂಮೆಂಟು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ now we can say that mass of particle, if you consider one particular gas where that mass of particles will be lesser the mass of the particle, more is the deflection. Light weight ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ if there is increase in the mass of the particle, there will be increase in the deflection. So now we can consider lighter the mass, lighter the deflection, more the mass, more is the deflection. And next factor on which this depends, that is on the strength of electrical or magnetic field. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ನೀವೇನಾದರೂ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಡಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ನು ಈ ಕಡೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ನೀವೇನಾದ್ರು ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಡಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ನು ಈ ಕಡೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ಡಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಷನ್, ಯಾವ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವೋ ಆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ magnetical field. And so that we can find in presence of only electric field, only in the presence of electric field, cathode rays hit at what point? They hit at point A, that is deflection towards electric field. And in the presence of only magnetic field, then the cathode rays hit the screen at point C, that is deflection is quite opposite to that of electric field. So by finally considering that angle of deflections at particular strength of either electric field and magnetic field, finally he was able to give that charge to mass ratio of electron as exactly that value, which is that value 1.758820 into 10 power 11 coulombs per kg. That means the charge possessed by electrons per 1 kg mass of electrons is exactly this value. These many coulombs will be having that charge for what mass? For 1 kg mass of electrons. That is how J.J. Thomson was able to give that exact value for charge to mass ratio of electron. Got it? So that is regarding this experiment, that is determination of the charge to mass ratio of electron, that was done by J.J. Thomson. So once we learnt about discovery of electron and the discovery of charge to mass ratio of electron, now we can go for determination of the charge of an electron. So actually the scientist by name R.A. Millikan, he was able to find the charge of an electron, that is done by oil drop experiment. Hence the name was given as Millikan's oil drop experiment. So by that experiment he was able to give the exact value for the charge of an electron, that is exactly equal to minus 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. So this value is very important from examination point of view. You should remember this value. Charge of an electron is given exactly as minus 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. So this negative represent that electrons are bearing negatively charged. And if we go for the determination of mass of electron can be determined with the help of charge value and its ratio of charge to mass of electron. So now we can consider this equation. Mass of electron is given as Me is equal to E divided by E by Me. So here if you simplify this, E will get cancelled, you will get the same nothing but mass of electron. Hence we can substitute the charge value exactly what we got before, that is 1.6022 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. And if we go for charge to mass ratio, what is that value we got there? 1.758820 into 10 power 11 coulombs per kg. By simplifying these values, you will exactly get this value, that is 9.1094 into 10 power minus 31 kg. Now they ask what is the mass value for electron. In any problems, if you want to solve the problem, wherever there is requirement for the substitution of the mass value of electron, then you need to remember this value, that is 9.1094 into 10 power minus 31. There should be negative value, it is very less, minus 31 kg. So therefore almost we can consider it is almost equal to 0 value. Hence that relative charge value of electron is given as -1 and symbol for an electron is given as e to the power minus, or it is represented as e, here that prefix will be 0 and suffix will be -1. So -1 representing its charge value and 0 representing its mass value. And similar to that of electrons, if any atom is said to be neutral, if it is said to be having negatively charged particles, exactly it should have same number of positively charged particles, then only it can behave like neutral in nature. So that they were able to find even there are positively charged particles like negatively charged particles in an atom. So this was first time discovered by the scientist by name Goldstein. He was able to discover there are presence of positively charged particles in an atom. So even he was able to conduct the same similar type of experiment that was done before by J.J. Thomson. That is nothing like cathode ray tube experiment. But here whatever the changes he made is, in the same cathode ray discharge tube, he made cathode as perforated. So he took perforated means the pores which will be present in the cathode plate, so that whatever the rays were emitted from the anode, in case of discharge tube experiment, whatever the rays emitted from anode side, let us consider it is positive and it is negative end. So the rays emitted from anode, they are able to pass and reach this cathode. In case he was able to consider, there will be presence of perforations or the pores in case of negative plate or the cathode plate. These were able to pass beyond this cathode plate. So he will consider whatever the rays are emitted from this discharge tube from towards anode, that is not exactly from anode like cathode rays. So how we are going to get the formation of anode rays actually? So here in this case, there will be filling of the gaseous molecules. So these gaseous molecules under high voltage, they will get collide with one another, even they are hit by the cathode rays. And during this collision between these gaseous molecules, they will become more energetic and they help for the removal of the electron. Once the electrons are removed of here, ಅಂದರೆ gaseous molecules ಒಂದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಹಿಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ಎನರ್ಜಿಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ನಾಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಯಾವಾಗ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಗೇಷಿಯಸ್ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಗೇಷಿಯಸ್ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಅಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ರೇಸ್ ಎಮಿಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಅಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಈ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಅಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕ್ಯಾಥೋಡ್ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹೆನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್, ಕ್ಯಾಥೋಡ್ ರೇ ಡಿಸ್ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಥೋಡ್ ರೇಸು ಕ್ಯಾಥೋಡ್ ಇಂದ ಎಮಿಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಬಟ್ ಆನೋಡ್ ರೇಸು ಆನೋಡ್ ಪ್ಲೇಟ್ ಇಂದ ಎಮಿಟ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಎಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ದ ಬಂಬಾರ್ಡ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆರ್ ಕೊಲಿಷನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದ gaseous molecules. You should remember that origin, it is important. And now these positive charged or positively charged particles which are in the form of rays, these positively charged rays contain positively charged particles which are known as protons. And these protons were discovered by whom? That is scientist by name Goldstein. So now we came to know that an atom contains negatively charged particles called electrons and positively charged particles called as protons. And now of course if you compare the charge value and mass value of proton, in case if there are equal number of positive and negative charged particles, then electron charge will be exactly equal to minus 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. Then proton will be having the same charge value 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb, but what is that relative charge? It is plus. And for electron it is negative, but for proton it is positive. That is the only difference, otherwise that value will be the same. So 10 power minus 19 coulomb, here also 10 power minus 19 coulombs. And if you go for that mass of proton, the mass of proton is comparatively more to that of electron. Here you can compare. So mass of electron it is 10 power minus 31 sorry, and whereas in case of proton that will be 10 power minus 27. Therefore mass of proton will be greater than that of mass of electrons. Got it? So that is regarding the discovery of protons. Now we can go for characteristics of anode rays. So if you consider anode rays and cathode rays, they are quite opposite with one another with respect to their charges. Now we can go for these characteristics one after the another. So very first characteristic here, their characteristics depends upon the nature of gas. So whatever you consider that experiment, that is cathode ray discharge tube experiment. So in the same discharge tube, the anode rays which were emitted, they mainly depend on the nature of the gas. So ಒಂದ್ಸಲಿ ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸ್ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬಲ್ಲಿ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಬೋದು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸ್ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ನ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂಥ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ದು ಮಾಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಬೇರೆ ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಅದರದ್ದು ಮಾಸಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಅಯಾನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದರ ಮಾಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಆದಾಗ ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಆ್ಯನೋಡ್ ರೇಸ್ದು ನೇಚರ್ ಕೂಡ ವೇರಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ mainly depends on the nature of the gas. And secondly, the charge to mass ratio of these anode rays, they depend on the nature of the gas. Even in case if we consider same way to that of the previous, here the charge to mass ratio contains mass value. So if there is a change in the gas, exactly there will be change in the mass of those positively charged ions. Hence that ratio will also be depending on the nature of the gas. And next, some of the positively charged particles carry multiples of fundamental unit of electrical charge. What is the meaning of it? ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಗೆ 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 ಕೂಲಂಬ್ ಆದರೆ, ಸೊ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ 4 ಇದ್ರೆ 4 into 1.602 into 10 power minus 19 ಕೂಲಂಬ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದೇ ತರ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜಡ್ ಅಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಆನೋಡ್ ರೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ +1 ಇರ್ಬೋದು, +2 ಇರ್ಬೋದು, +3 ಇರ್ಬೋದು, +4 ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಹಾಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ charge of electron irutte. That is 4 into charge of electron or 5 into charge of electron. That is the meaning of this sentence. That is, sum of positively charged particles carry multiples of fundamental unit of electrical charge. That is, fundamental unit of electrical charge means that is the charge of one electron. Then their behavior, that is anode rays behavior, that is quite opposite to that of cathode rays in electric field and magnetic field. So in case if we consider, if there is a cathode ray, here there is a positive anode plate and cathode plate. Whenever they come in contact with this positive and a negative end, if there is presence of cathode rays, these cathode rays will undergo deflection towards what? Anode. But in case if there are anode rays, these anode rays, they will not move in the same direction as that of cathode rays, that will be in the opposite direction because it is carrying negative charge. That is the meaning of this. They are showing that behavior opposite to that of cathode rays. So even you remember, in the presence of magnetic field, that is in the presence of north pole and the south pole. So one is another one north, another one is south pole. So these cathode rays will move towards in opposite direction to that of electric field, whereas in case of anode rays, they will move to that opposite direction to that of the cathode rays. That is why we can consider, obviously they are showing exact opposite behavior to that of the cathode rays, both in electric field and magnetic field. And if you go for the mass of these positively charged anode rays, that a lightest positive ray is obtained by hydrogen gas, which is that first element in the periodic table with a very light atomic mass, that is hydrogen itself. Hence, if you take hydrogen gas in the discharge tube, then you are going to get the very lightest positively charged anode ray particles, which is the H+. So if you say hydrogen H11, so that hydrogen will be containing 1 proton and 1 electron. But after the removal of 1 electron, it contains only 1 proton, but there is no neutron. Hence, that H+ ion obtained is obviously given the name as protons. Hence, we can consider which is that lightest positive ray obtained, that is obtained by the hydrogen gas. And that is regarding the characteristics of anode rays. And finally, if we come for which is that another subatomic particle which is embedded in the atom. So that is nothing but neutron. That means mainly the mass of any atom will be depending on the mass of proton and mass of neutron, because mass of electron is almost negligible. The much mass of any atom is concentrated in the nucleus, where you can find both protons as well as neutrons inside the nucleus. And as you can consider, who discovered the neutrons for the first time? It was done by the scientist by name James Chadwick. So he was considering that radioactive elements like that is, if you say there will be emission of alpha particles, here that alpha particles are represented as helium with charge value 2 and mass value atomic number 2, mass number 4. So these are nothing but alpha particles. He took beryllium with atomic number 4 and mass number 9. he bombarded beryllium with alpha particles, that is on strong collision between beryllium and helium particles. Then there was possibility for the formation of carbon isotope, that is carbon with atomic number 6 and mass number 12. And here there will be formation of certain particles. Those particles, they were neither attracted towards anode nor attracted towards cathode in electric field. Those particles were given the name as neutrons. So neutrons are given the symbol as N with whatever that charge value will be equal to 0 and mass value is equal to 1. So here you can find 9 plus 4. So 9 plus 4 is, that is, we can say 13. Here 12 and one more extra mass value it is given in the form of neutron. Whereas if you can say it is charge value 4 plus 2 is 6, here you will exactly get the same 6 value charge value with respect to carbon. Hence he was able to generate these neutrons by bombarding beryllium with the alpha particles. Got it? So once you consider there is the formation of neutrons which are neutral in nature and they are representing with relative charge as 0. And what about the mass value for neutrons? The mass value for neutron is exactly given as 1, it was found that 1.675 into 10 power minus 27 kg. Do you remember? In case of proton, the mass of one proton is 1.672, but here only small difference at third decimal. Instead of writing 2, here we have to write 5. It is little bit more, it is almost similar to that of mass of what? Mass of proton. So here that's relative charge value 0, and what symbol you can write it here? N with the suffix 0 and here prefix power as 1. So that is regarding discovery of protons, neutrons and electrons and with respect to their charge values and mass values. You should remember who discovered these subatomic particles and what are the charge values of these subatomic particles, and even you should remember what are the mass values for these subatomic particles. Now we can go for few objectives. So very first question is, the positively charged subatomic particles were discovered by whom? So they are given the 4 options. So which is the right option? So here you can remember electrons were discovered by J.J. Thomson. So whereas they are considering the positively charged particles means they are obviously protons. Hence who is that scientist? That is Goldstein. So which is that right option? That is option C is the right option. And next question, the charge value of electron is, here they are mentioned charge value. So here charge value with respect to electron it will be negative and minus 1.6022 into 10 power minus 19 or plus 19 coulomb. Then you should remember it is exactly minus 19 coulomb but not plus 19 coulomb, and here it is another option 0 and here it is plus. Therefore which is the right option? Minus 1.6022 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb, that is option A. And next question, they have asked a very simple question, that is relative charge of proton. So relative charge is mentioned by, so there is a difference between charge value and relative charge. So the relative charge of proton is given by plus 1 or minus 1 it is exactly equal to plus 1. Hence which is that right option? That is option A. Then identify wrong statement among the following they have mentioned. So you should keenly observe whatever the sentence they have given one after the another. The anode rays are originated from anode. Do you accept they are originated from anode? No, they are actually just originated from gaseous molecules itself due to the removal of the electron. Hence, this is the first statement which is the wrong statement. Of course, we can follow up with the next statements also. The cathode rays are originated from cathode. Exactly, the cathode rays are emitted from cathode plate. It is a right statement. And the nature of anode rays depends on the nature of the gas. Obviously, the anode rays, if there is a change in the gas, there will be change in the characteristic of the anode rays. And this is also right statement. And fourth statement, the nature of cathode rays does not depend on the nature of the gas. Of course, it is also correct statement because cathode rays they are containing electrons, the nature of electrons does not depend on any nature of the gas. Therefore, which is that wrong statement? Option A is the wrong statement, but it is the right option. So, because in the question they are asked identify not correct statement, identify wrong statement among the following. So, option A is the right answer. And last question. So, if you go for the mass value of neutron is. So, what is that mass value for neutron? You can remember that mass value of neutron is almost similar to that of proton. So, here very first option 1.6022 into 10 power minus 19 kg. It is absolutely wrong. So, 1.675 into 10 power minus 27 kg. It is option B. And here option C is 1.672 into 10 power minus 27. Here you can compare. As I told you before, with respect to protons and neutrons, there is only small difference. It is 1.675. It is little bit higher value with the third decimal. It is the right option for the, that is mass value for neutron. Whereas this value, it is representing the mass value for proton, that is 1.672. But for both protons and neutrons, there will be same 10 power, that is minus 27. Here also minus 27. But last option, it is meant with the mass value for electron. Therefore, which is that right option? Option B is the right option.